And I can practically hear you thinking, really, what's there to even explain here? And look, that's a totally fair question. At first glance, it feels like there's, well, nothing to see. But trust me on this one. I promise you, hidden inside these simple lines is this amazing story about how your brain works, how we've been communicating for thousands of years, and where meaning really comes from. All right, so to kick things off, let's just break this thing down to its absolute bare bones. Part 1, anatomy of a drawing, finding the person and the parts. So first, we've got this, a circle. Just a round line. By itself, it's just a shape, right? Nothing more to it. And then right under that, there's this rectangle. Kind of has some rounded corners. Again, just a basic shape. You've seen it 1,000 times before. But check this out. The second we put them together, bam, your brain does something absolutely incredible. They're not just a circle and a rectangle anymore, are they? Instantly, you see a person, a head, a body. This is a perfect example of something called Gestalt psychology. Basically, our brains are wired to see a whole picture that's way more meaningful than just its individual parts. It's exactly why you see, faces in the clouds or animals in the stars. Okay, but it gets even cooler. We don't just see a person, right? We see a person who is feeling something very specific. So let's dive into our next part and see how this works. The shock of a face, decoding universal emotion. So let's zoom right in on that head. Just forget the body for a minute and look at the face. I mean, what's really there? 2 little dots for eyes and an oval for a mouth. That's it. 3 tiny marks, and yet there's zero confusion about what this person is feeling, is there? That feeling, of course, is surprise. Now get this, the official definition calls it a brief mental and physiological state, a startle response. I mean, we're talking about a super complex thing involving adrenaline, heightened senses, a whole chain reaction in your body, and that's what's so amazing. This shows the power we're talking about. Those 3 little marks are somehow sophisticated enough to make us understand that entire complex human experience. Wild, right? So how is that even possible? How can a few simple lines tap so directly into our brains like that? Well, it's because we have evolved to be expert face readers. For our ancestors, survival literally depended on it. You had to know friend from foe, danger from safety in a split second. You actually have parts of your brain dedicated just to this job. So these simple lines, they're like a secret password that taps right into that ancient, powerful wiring. And this whole shortcut thing, it's not a new invention. Not at all. It's part of a communication tradition that's basically as old as we are. Which brings us right to part 3, a universal language, from cave walls to emojis. I mean, this has been going on for tens of thousands of years. You see it in the stick figures in ancient cave paintings, you see it in Egyptian hieroglyphs, in the universal pictograms you see on signs everywhere. And yeah, of course, in the emojis that are pretty much how we talk now. This simple little figure is part of one of the oldest and most successful languages humanity has ever created. So, why has it been so successful? Well, think about it. Compare it to a super detailed, photorealistic portrait. Now, that portrait has a ton of information, for sure, but it takes your brain a second to process all of it. The simple figure, though, it delivers its message with instant clarity. It's high-speed communication. Almost anyone, anywhere on the planet can get it in a flash. It's basically communication perfected. So, what's the big picture here? What's the ultimate takeaway from unpacking this one little drawing? Well, that brings us to our final section, meaning in simplicity, the observer's role. There's this great quote, people say it's from Leonardo da Vinci, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. And it's so true. We often think that to create more meaning, you have to add more detail, more complexity. But what this drawing proves is that a lot of the time, the exact opposite is true. The real power comes from what you decide to leave out. So let's just recap why this simple little drawing is so powerful. 1, it gets rid of all the distracting noise. 2, it forces us, the viewers, to fill in the gaps with our own minds, our own experiences. 3, it just jumps right over any cultural or language barriers. And finally, a simple drawing like this, it kind of acts like a mirror, right? It reflects our own shared humanity right back at us. And this, right here, is the most important takeaway of all. The meaning, the story, the emotion, it isn't actually in the drawing, it's in you. You're the one turning shapes into a person. You're the one translating 3 little marks into the feeling of surprise. You are an active partner in this whole act of communication.
So, we'll leave you with this one last thought to chew on. Now that you've seen this entire universe of meaning we can pull out of just a few simple lines, ask yourself this: what other complex worlds are hiding in the simple things you see every single day? You know, the icons on your phone, the signs on the street, even just a quick doodle on a piece of paper. The meaning is there. It's just waiting for you to find it.